Good morning and welcome to the closing table with Nicole O'Reilly. I am your host and I'm here today with Frank Aazami. How are you today?
Good morning, Nicole. How are you?
Very well. Why don't we just start off and you can tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, in case any of our viewers don't know who you are.
Sure. So I am Frank Aazami, real estate agent here in the Valley. I call myself the guy that you would call um, if you are in need of the true story of how things need to be done
Mm-hmm.
to get you from point to point. So basically, I love helping people going from one chapter of their life to the
Mm-hmm.
next in the smoothest way and with transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's what I do. Help
How
people.
long have you been in real estate?
Well, I was in real estate just investing for
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Okay.
So a long time as an investor,
Mm-hmm.
property owner. Before that, I was in restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So I developed a chain of restaurants. And it was fun. And when I actually sold my restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
decided that I want to be a husband and a family man. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have children. We ended
Aw.
up with one, but I wanted to have at least three or four, and that many pets as well.
Oh, very nice.
Because all I did was just, service my restaurants,
Yeah.
service my business, and I wanted to have a change in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and so I decided to sell them and retire. Actually, come to Arizona and kind of like play around, play
Okay.
around in the sun, and that was right before the big crash. We in
Yes.
2007, 6, 7, probably 7, more
Seven,
7,
eight.
8. Yeah, people say 7 or 8, but I had a good
It
smell.
continued into
Yeah,
nine.
right,
So,
right. So that's when I kind of decided, you know what, I need to get um, with it
hmm
and really help people not to lose their homes, families. I
hmm
would drive around in the valley and see these license plates that said it shouldn't hurt to be a child.
oh,
And I was going and seeing homes that the sign of distress was there,
hmm
financial distress. And I said, a home should be somewhere where people grow and enjoy and have memories, and it shouldn't be a 2 year, 3 year just move.
hmm
So once my daughter was born, we kind of didn't move as much, but before her, every 3 to 6 months we were just moving from one unit to another project, and we were having fun, my wife and I.
oh,
So we did a lot of flips.
nice.
So from restaurant into investing real estate, mixed use, commercial, and residential. So we
hmm
had a lot of fun. We just, made it look better on paper
hmm
or in person.
Right.
And so we brought value. So the value then was a profit for us.
hmm
And so when I moved to Arizona 20 years ago, I wanted to do the kind of not go into the restaurant business, but kind of like, play
hmm
around with real estate. Then the market crash came, and it's like, okay, how are we helping people that need
Right.
help? And my commitment was just to help. Like, this was a Titanic going down, and I had lifesavers.
Right.
And so what we did was we brought in, brokers that wanted to also help clients that they could. And we gathered twice a month.
hmm
So we had about 30 to 50 agents come in, and we figured out a way how to help. They would just describe their situation
hmm
and how can we go about helping them.
Oh, that's impressive, honestly, because
Yeah.
that was such a hard time. I mean, across the nation, but I feel like we really saw it here in Arizona pretty harshly. So you started off investing and helping.
hmm
And so, how did you find your way into luxury?
Oh, well, some of these assignments were, as you recall,
hmm
everyone was an investor.
Right.
You know, I would pull up to valet my car and he would tell me how many homes he was invested because everybody was just getting loans, you know,
With no proof.
with no proof, right? Yeah. So now they need to exit out of these assignments, and then you have to look at it. Okay, how's the build? How's the design? What are the finances looking like? Who can we place in here so it doesn't hurt their credit report
Right.
or their investment, or original investment in it? And so we just looked at all things, not just one thing.
Right.
We asked a lot of questions. We were kind of like the specialists that go in and kind of, you know, figure out how to save this patient,
Right.
you know, keep them alive. And then also this would be a learning curve for them so they don't fall into this trap again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the changes that were made after 2008, 2009 period, it's funny because we still get people that are like, I'm waiting for the crash. And I'm like, you're going to be waiting.
Yeah. Well, cycles come and go.
Right.
You just have to know, you know, when to come in, when to get out, if you're an investor. And for the rest of it, it's supply and demand too. So it's a lot of times like, does this supply, you know, enough for what the demand is? And if the answer is yes, then, you know, you run your business that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I've noticed, especially around Scottsdale and other more affluent areas, that a lot of the homes were bought out recently, well, in the past few years as Airbnb, and now they're being resold. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, it was a good run. And until the city government came in, the HOAs came in, you know, the neighbors came in. And so it's like, okay, how are they being used? If there are party houses, if they're used for event centers, then it's a red flag. It's a residential zoning,
Right.
so we can't run a business out of it.
Right.
And so yeah, we there had to be some cleaning up, and people did it for profit, not for the right reasons always.
Right.
And the right reasons is, okay, yes, we don't have enough rooms, let's just say hotels and resorts. So we have to, or the people that are coming here, those spaces are not fine enough for them. They want more, they want better. Right. So, you know, they were looking for that supply, that the demand was for these homes. And we realized we're a destination, you know, with all these events that are taking place.
Oh, yes.
Cars and horses and golf and
Right.
art and everything else that happens here in town. People are coming in with their families and with their best friends. And so they want to come in here and enjoy themselves in a private setting. So these homes were perfect for that. You know, if you had X amount of number of bedrooms and privacy, boom, you got premium for it. We're realizing that people are now looking for quality. So these jewel box places, these experiences that they can purchase into, and you know, with the popularity of social media, they like to post where they are and what they're doing.
Absolutely. I think it's funny because I think it's also how we end up kind of getting people to move here is they come and they visit during the wonderful time of the year when we have amazing weather for the vast majority of the year, to be honest.
Right.
We just get real hot in the middle.
Right. Yeah, I'm one of them. I mean, when I moved here, or when I came to visit here, I spoke to a lot of people. And over and again, I came to visit, I stayed. I came to visit. And then you come across people that traveled the world, and their destination, the place to park themselves and call it home, was here. And they could live anywhere in the world, but they chose Arizona and our region. So their testimony was for me to say, okay, I need to be here.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's wrong, right?
And then you raised your daughter here as well, correct?
Yes, she was only a couple years old. So she went to school here, and, you know, she was an ice skater, figure skater, and went to college here and wants to go to law school next.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So she's not following in Dad's footsteps in real estate, huh?
No, you got it. You know, I don't think she is into the daily activity that I'm involved, in. I work a lot of long hours.
Yes.
And I love what I do. So it's not work for me. It's what I love doing.
You already retired once, so you're like over the whole retirement thing at this
It's
point.
It was never about money. Money comes,
Right.
but it's about value. It really is. So if they can value what I do, they'll pay for it. And it's about, majority of people I work with, they're entrepreneurs. So they understand net sheet.
Right.
So they net most or more when they work with a professional that can achieve that. And we run those exercises. We do a side-by-side comparison. If they run it this way, if they do it this way, what's their net? So that's our regular routine when we talk to clients.
You're very involved with your clients, so that's amazing. So how do you feel about the whole NAR settlement and the changes that have been made? Do you feel like you've seen any that you found more, for lack of a better word, entertaining?
Well, I think NAR needs to do better. They were never set up, and I voice it all the time, that I think, they should license people, with more education. For example, teach them how the infrastructure of a building or, areas are in place. You drive around in town and you don't see any, power lines, or, what's the cost of that?
Right.
And when we do see them, it's like, oh, I see power lines. I really don't want to buy this house because it views that. So, to bring utilities and curbs and roads, that's in place. They need to learn that. They need to learn architecture, how a good architect can design a better home that sells for more, values for more. They need to learn about building materials, workmanship. We need to teach, agents, salespeople, where all of those values are to arrive to a price.
Right.
So all of that sums up to be what the property is worth.
Well, and right now I think that agents are leaning heavily towards mentors or teams in a lot of ways to try and figure out all of that, right? They need a good mentor in order to have somebody to teach them, because real estate school doesn't teach you how to practice real estate.
Right.
So I think that, when I got my real estate license years and years and years ago, which I don't practice, but I never going to let it go either.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I have a wife that does that.
I worked
and
very
she's never
hard
practiced,
for it.
but she keeps taking the continued education class.
I worked very hard to get it. It can stay there.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That's what,
But, when I got my license, I really kind of felt like, okay, I went to a KW situation,
right?
Because they're training brokerage.
They sure are.
So I kind of had a little bit more information, but I had no idea what I was doing.
Right. So to that point, you become a real estate agent once you have accomplished, first of all, good schooling. I think it shouldn't be 90 hours for sure. It should be at least a 2 to 4 year program, just as they are in other countries.
Right.
Okay, it's a career. If your other advisors are taking that much amount of classes and hours of education, then we should as well, because we are advisors.
Yes.
It's the most expensive asset someone owns.
Right.
And we're in there to advise them to sell it. And if we do a poor job, their value drops and it becomes a failing asset. And failure is not acceptable. Again, I went in to take this license to improve and be an example how to be better. We can do better.
Right.
So I think it should come from National Association of Realtors saying, once you take X amount of classes, these many years, now you have to work under somebody and do X amount of units or dollars, whichever comes first, because some people do smaller numbers, but adds up.
Right.
So tied into an achievement, because if you do anything by in time, you become really good at it.
Absolutely.
Right? So you come in, you work under somebody, and then you can launch and either stay there and become a senior partner, or move on and create your own brokerage team, whatever.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have that goal of building out a big team, but it takes somebody that's been in the industry and learned from every deal that they've done
That's exactly
to be able to
right.
build that out, because they have to be able to teach.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with these models that just says, just go get a listing. Just go get any listing. And that's a disservice. And I say majority of them are just hungry for a listing. Can you sell it?
Right.
Do you know what to do with it? And they're looking at it as an asset. Sometimes people do. I did in the beginning. I just wanted a listing because I wanted to go get to work. But getting a listing and selling a listing, two different things. Two different, Yeah. And you really, if you have assignments and you have X amount of listings and they're not selling, but you actually truly investing time and money and advertising in it, which you should. Not everyone does. Their extent of advertising is MLS.
Right.
I think it needs to be more than that. And social media has been a huge part, and it's free, right?
Right.
So you're investing time to get the word out. They need to as well.
Right. Well, and I think also like agents can lean on their business partners, right?
Right.
Like for title, a lot of times we cover the print as long as our logo's on it, of course. But we'll cover the print for them. So they could do mailers and expand and farm.
I remember, I can tell you a story about farming. So when I first started, I went to my title person and I asked for, I don't know, 20,000 or 10,000 labels. Like, what? 20,000 labels? No way. I'm like, I'm paying for the postage. All I'm asking is the labels. And they said, no. Why don't we give you 250 or 500? And I said, well, that's not gonna do anything. I need to get the word. I need 20,000. And so anyway, you're right. I mean, it's costly. It's costly to do print and get it out there. The digital format is by far better and more effective because now you can dialogue with them. But when I first started 20 years ago, close to 20 years ago, print was it. I mean, you had to handwrite and invite and get your story out. And I think every home has a story.
Right.
Okay.
I think sellers still want to see a postcard come in their mailbox that you're advertising to their neighbors, because a lot of times the neighbors are the ones that are going to find the buyer.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you're in a different area. We went to a listing on a home tour that was in a not so great area. It has a name. So we went there and I said, because she's like, I'm not getting any showings. I'm not, and it's the nicest house in the neighborhood. And I said, you need to be advertising to the people that are here because they're happy being here.
Right.
And so it's an easier sale to somebody that already knows what they're walking into.
So we had a similar assignment just recently where homes are selling at or below $1 million. And it's a neighborhood where this one architect who's deceased, but he had a footprint in this whole neighborhood. And those are very charming. And people like to preserve these homes, and they should, because they're mid-century, modern. They're really cool homes. The client owned their own build firm. So they put so much into it. They really all they wanted to do is really get out from selling it for what they put into it. They didn't want to make any profit. And so the value was there, but the location didn't call for $3.5 million in $1 million neighborhood. Right. So what we did was we invited people that are looking for a $3.5, $4 million and can't find it just down the street, maybe 5 or 7 minutes away, and invited that audience to come see this opportunity. And that's how we sold it for full ask price.
Awesome.
Because someone saw the value
Right.
in the finishes and they didn't have to do anything. It's move in and enjoy it.
I love that we do have some really cool architects from history that have built out here. Frank Lloyd Wright happens to be one of my favorites. So, who's your favorite?
Albedo.
Albedo. Okay.
Albedo, just because of his just simplicity. It's just really clean lines, and it's very European. I lived in Europe for several years. You have Construction Zone. That's a design build firm, 180 degrees. You have a lot of great firms, design build firms that are really passionate about creating that art that you live in. Imagine. I think that's really cool because they define spaces. Every inch counts. So you can give them smaller footprint, but they make it work really well.
Right.
And every day it's like you love the house because of the lighting, because of the volume, because of the compression, many different things that really it talks to your soul.
Right.
Maybe the way your family flows in it, the spaces that they need, or your pets are comfortable in it. They can go in and out and be safe. And you can see that they're happy, so you're happy. I just visited a home yesterday. I mean, the guy was in it for 30 years. 30 years.
That's
Bought
impressive.
It for like $62,000. I think the area, there's no way you can be able to get into that area for, it's a quarter of an acre, but then he bought the one behind it, next to it. His parents are now living in that one.
Oh,
and
wow.
And then their best friends is renting next door. They always rent to their friends, people they like. So it's kind of like they created their own little, compound.
Yeah. Hey, I've joked forever that, if my neighbor ever moves, the only person that's allowed to move in is one of my girlfriends because, we have to have a little walk-through gate between our yards.
That's so cool.
I
grew up that way. When we grew up where door was not ever locked. We just walked into each other's, all the kids, all the family, we just walked in. And that sense of being in the neighborhood, that's why I think Arcadia was very popular because it gave you that little sense of neighborhood, biking as a family, walking the dog, and all of that. I think,
Right. I mean, we see builders with more of tract homes trying to put that in, right, in these master planned communities, is give more of that community feeling. It's important. And that's why even when I'm talking to different agents, like right now is the time of year where if you can as an agent, it's the time to give back, right?
Yes.
So instead of their marketing being, I sold this house for this much, I've got some agents doing food drives.
Very cool.
For marketing.
Very cool.
Right?
Yes, it's who you meet and they like you. They like your heart. They like your demeanor. You're hired.
Well,
people do business with who they like.
Exactly.
And if you know enough to be able to guide them, when we run our CMA, we do it with the client. We really, really try to do it because I've done the CMA and put it in front of them, and they who they're going to hire? The person that tells them the most or charges the least. It's the wrong way to hire somebody.
Oh yeah, especially for it. I just had this conversation yesterday with an agent of mine who is trying to get a seller off the fence. The seller wants to sell but doesn't want to pay commissions to anybody. And I told her, I said, break it down in the numbers. We know on average that homes sell for more money, and that takes the commissions or compensation, wrong word, sorry, compensation into effect, that they still make over the compensation. So they're making more money. And if you break it down in your seller's net sheets or whatever, and you can show them at different increments, you might have a better shot with this seller.
Nicole, the pros do that. That's why they do volume. The pros have testimonials and examples of doing it different ways.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where I give up and I say, you know what, I like you and I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you're the type that, you want to drive this bus.
Mm-hmm.
You drive the bus. But if we don't arrive where you want to be in time or in price, don't blame me. Blame yourself because you're driving the bus. You're hiring me to do the surgery, but you want to do the surgery yourself.
Right.
How's that going to work? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, we have assignments where they don't want to listen, but we like them or we like the asset. And I always said, if I like either one, I'm going to go work with you. There are sometimes, you're like, oh, wow, if I had this home, I know I could sell it because you know the pulse of the market. And sometimes it's never about price. It's about, that this is one-on-one, and I know how to sell one-on-one. I'm very good at. We have sold significant sales. We created comps. We changed comps in different zip codes and neighborhoods. Why? Because we had the asset. It wasn't me. It was me, but I understood it, so I could get it out there and broadcast it and tell the story. So if you have the right people for the right assignment on the sell and the buy, I think magic happens. And you're right. You're right. You have to really break it down.
Okay, so what did you do early in your career to help build your knowledge to provide more value to your clients so that you do have this walk in, look, I know what I'm doing and I can help you. It's up to you if you want the help.
So, yes. So I looked at what my role is, okay? And because at 1 minute, you're a marketer.
Right.
Another minute, you're an advisor. And another minute, you're a psychiatrist. And then you're an attorney. And then you have all these different roles that you have to play. And then you have to, at the end of the day, make sure you're making money doing this. And there are scenarios where agents do it for nothing. And that's okay. That they're worth just, and then they're always broke, right?
Right.
They're always doing they're in transactions, but nobody's actually making money because it's not a career for them. It's more of a spot. They want to be in a limelight. They want to be in a spotlight, maybe, or something. I don't know what the why it's there, but it's there, and you can't change that. But you just have to learn from experts, right? Different categories of experts. How are they running their business, and how are they advising? Right. And if we can do what they do and incorporate it in your business,
right. Why do you think I have you on the show?
You're too kind.
That way the others can learn from your knowledge. I think it's important. Even if you just look at sales, right? The best salespeople will take what other salespeople are doing and make it their own.
That's right.
It's not copying. It's taking, this worked for this person. How do I make it mine? And, it's actually a compliment if you think about it to the person before them. But I think that especially in our industry, because we don't have as much of training as some of us feel we probably should before we start practicing, I think that listening to experts is really important.
Mentoring, mentorship in this industry with the right people, with the people that are, ethical and they're doing it the right way. And in just putting people out in the field and just go do it may not be the right way. Again, I think it has to come from national association, or maybe a brokerage that comes in and says, you know what, we're going to have, we're going to run it this way. And I think with the brokerage that we're in, we're doing that. I mean, Russ Lyon Sotheby's has a mentorship program that, we brought up over the years to the ownership, and they said, you know what, we're going to test this. We're going to test this and see how it works out. And it's working out, I think, pretty well. I didn't sign up for, even though I brought it to the table multiple times and it got approved. but I'm not part of it because at the end of the day, I have a business I have the business to run. I have commitments in place. Those are important. And if it was my company or
Right.
if it was my office, I would run. I would have time for it.
Well, you
But it's
also
not.
have a wife that probably still wants to spend time with you.
Yeah, that too. Right.
And you did mention animals. So you only
Yeah.
got one daughter, but how many animals did you get?
Well, I again, if it was up to me, it would be like 3 or 4, but it's always one and only, one and only. We got one dog, but we spoil him.
Oh.
We spoiled the last one, and we enjoy every minute of it. But if it was up to me, 3 or 4, so they can have each other.
You can try what I tried. Say, hey, can we foster?
Yes.
I'm not going to fail. I promise.
Okay. All right. Well,
We could get you involved with a foster animal rescue.
you know how I ended up with a dog was I had a broker, and I was so passionate about just doing things the right way and doing it best possible way, and she could see that there's a lot of pride, and she's like, Frankie, you need a dog. You need a dog. You need a dog. So my broker, Sandy Young, who I love dearly, very, very brilliant individual, a good person to go to and get good advice from. She's the one that got me to go, and she found me the dog, and us the dog, the family dog, and that changed our world. I mean, I became a different person, just like being a parent, right? You
Right.
know, when you're now you have responsibilities of a child. You're just do things differently. You don't travel as much. You're home more often. Other things become priorities.
We get an in-home babysitter for our dog if we leave town.
There you go. That's right. See?
I can't imagine putting him in a kennel. He's a
Yes.
big old baby.
Yes.
He'd think I abandoned him.
He's your baby.
Exactly.
I
And
love
I've
it.
got 2 adult daughters.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
Yes.
but they'll tell you, they joke with everybody and they're like, yeah, my mom loves her dog more than us. And I'm like, that's not true. But he doesn't talk back.
I think my daughter feels the same way. Because she was the only one, so she had
Right.
a lot of attention. So, yeah.
Oh,
No.
trust me, when there's 2 of them, they just gang up on you. It's fine.
Oh, is that how it goes?
Yes.
Okay.
Like when one starts picking on me, and it's hilarious because now, they're adults. So picking on mom is so fun, right?
Oh, yes.
So once one starts, then the other one, they feed off each other. And I'm just sitting there going, what did I do?
Yeah. But you're good.
Yes.
Silence is gold.
Hey, and you never know. You might end up with more than one grandbaby. Never know down the road.
Yes. That would be a treat. That would be a treat. I can't wait.
I don't need grandchildren anytime soon, but I will say I like the idea.
So, I always wish I owned a kindergarten.
Oh, that's fun.
Always. That's still like if somebody says, "Hey, take it over," that would be fun.
That does sound fun.
Yeah, I just love that stage.
Yes, little
they're
ones.
pure.
They're so sweet, and
Yes.
they're so ready to learn. It's so amazing.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask you a little bit about how do you feel about our current market? It feels like things aren't moving as quickly. I mean, we're all still recovering from 2021 type where it was just a
Booming.
fire hose.
Yes.
But it seems to me that the market's just pretty balanced for the most part.
It is. So it all depends where. Like I can talk about certain zip codes, certain neighborhoods where you can't find inventory, and then there are certain areas where all you see is price adjustments.
Right.
And so overall, this town has been a destination. People are moving here, right? I mean, historically, let's go 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And so the growth in migration is here. Jobs are here. Jobs are following people. They're like, okay, we want good people. Where are they going? Oh, let's go put a plant here. Let's move here. So that's already in place. And thanks to our local government and our system in place is very well. Our road system is great. There's a lot of great things happening here. And that's why we all moved here.
Right.
Right. So the that's huge because things are going to sell. People are going to come here. Now, the adjustment took place from year to year. I mean, overall, we adjusted because of many reasons. Look at what's happening with the governments. Look at the war that's going on, overseas.
Look at the fact that we were really hot, much longer than normal.
Too long, exactly.
Yes.
We sold everything, and there was a joke. If you bought it and you wanted to come back on the market, you sold it for $1 million more or twice as much. Million more, twice as much. Okay, how many times can you? We saw properties sell 2 or 3 times for more. Where's it going to end? Right? Which was kind of good in a way because the cost of goods went up. Labor went up, and so your builders and trades they couldn't make the money. They couldn't. The spread wasn't there. So this asking more and trading more created more of that new build work for us. But I still think we can improve with our design, with our green living, net zero, all of that can have. There's space there, and then we can do themes in different areas. Like I have an area where I want to create 55 plus car community. If you have 55 cars or more, I have a community for you to invest in.
Oh, great! My other half would be your best friend.
Well, there you go.
We just finished a 3,000 square foot garage build, and it's already full.
And we're doing a community in northern Arizona, okay, just north of Cottonwood, 20 minutes outside of Sedona. And the entire community is going to be these barn dominiums that people love to have any of their activities in. It doesn't have to be cars.
Right.
I mean, it could have a mezzanine. It just could have, and then you have a smaller home or whatever size home to it. So we're working on that assignment. It would be really fun because these people have something in common. They're all collectors.
Right.
And they can talk about their collection.
Yes.
Right. And what is life is all about. It's about.
Well, and we're very blessed here. This is a good place to store luxury vehicles and vehicles, that are important because we don't get a lot of rain.
Right. So there's no rust.
We're not near the ocean, so we're not dealing with that. We don't get snow. I mean, maybe in Cottonwood, but definitely not really in Phoenix.
Right.
So it is a good space to keep these cars preserved, more so.
Plus all the auctions. I mean, these auctions are just unbelievable. It's just like every year they're outdoing last year and the year before. And so people like to keep their assets here for the next round. And so, yes, these garage spaces are doing great. I just listed one, Alpios in North Scottsdale. Well, I want to say by the Four Seasons.
Right.
And it's like, 4,400 square feet, and it comes with all the bells and whistles at full ask, $2.2 million. I have another space on Shea Boulevard that has views galore. It could be a great cars and coffee concept.
Nice.
Just have your stuff there and then have your friends come over and sit there private and enjoy it. So, yeah, so these assignments are exciting because these barndominiums are built with metal and can be built with metal and insulated. And so, I'm excited to see these communities just develop more and more.
Absolutely. You'll have to show me pictures of the one up in Cottonwood when it's all ready.
Okay.
I'm definitely interested in checking that out because it's always fun when somebody thinks outside the box.
Yes.
But really, you're thinking about the community we live in and the fact that it is a destination. And hey, this is a great space to store your cars and have that extra garage space. I mean, Mojave County is huge on RV garages because everybody has an RV. Right.
We're working on a development on the west side of just on the border of Arizona and Nevada. And on a river. And so we want to do this whole boating community
Yes.
and golf. And so, what can you do there? And that's exciting.
You and I should have a talk afterwards, because
Okay.
if it's in Bullhead,
It is.
I have
Yes.
some info for you.
Okay.
Because that's actually, I'm from Parker, Arizona, so
okay.
I some of my clients are actually out in Mojave County,
Yes.
and my mom's still out there.
Well, I have
So-
unbelievable development opportunities that will take place there.
Mhm.
And that's the next boom. I think the smart city is
Right.
going to be there because you have water.
Yes.
When you have water, you have everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Solar we're going to have, but power grids there. Everything, all the infrastructure we need can be there.
Your only issue might be finding property, especially if you want to be on the river, that isn't tribally owned.
Well, you're right, because so this piece that we have under contract, it's already surrounded by the tribe
Right.
land, and so it's limited what you can you can do. So it makes it even more interesting and more demanding. So you have all the hiking, national forest there. It's the largest, I think, in the country, and it's so pure and beautiful. And organically, it just brings, I think, 4 or 5 million visitors a year. I mean, so people are there.
Yeah.
All you
And
got to do is show them what they can have, and they'll buy
the
it.
river's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
So, I mean, I grew up on it, so I'm a big fan of the Colorado River.
I have renderings of the entire scope of this community.
We'll grab lunch later.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll
I'll share
chat.
it with you.
So, what advice do you have for those agents that have seen you grow and have this amazing career within the luxury market, which is unique? A lot of agents want to do luxury, but what advice do you have for those that really do? And what are things they need to be aware of before going into luxury?
Show up, show up, show up. Go and
I
visit.
love that.
Yeah, right. Look professional. Don't come in with your, like weekend outfit. Look like you're going to work, right? And take a lot of notes and, learn what are these architects, builders, suppliers, what are they doing? Look into new companies that are forming, new ways of doing windows, new ways of insulation, roofing, surfaces, what applications are actually working, so you can talk the talk and you can point out the difference between this, and this, and why this one is a better choice because of their workmanship or because of the finishes that they implemented in there. So I say go and educate yourself, because the National Association didn't tell you to do it. You got to do it.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up just education and learning about so many things that impact our industry, whether it is, energy efficient windows and doors, but you still want the quality. You still want, you want to have those little touches within a home that are unique to that designer or to that architect, right? You want your home to have a little bit of character. Do not get me wrong. We have a lot of builders out here that put together their areas, but there's value in that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, there's nothing wrong with the track builders, because, at some point we need entry level, right? We need stages. Not everything is custom. But I've seen people go in there and turn those into jewel boxes. And then all of a sudden, when they sell, everybody wants to have that same price, but you have to have the same product.
Right.
Right. So when I first started, again, there was a lot of one-on-ones, but for the last some time now, we're doing these panel discussions. Like tomorrow,
Yes.
I have one with design build firms, okay, at Scottsdale Area Association of Realtors, where not only agents and people in the design industry, but the public can come in. They're welcome to come in and listen to 4 design build firms talk about what they do, how they do it, why design, build, why not. And then we do architects, then we do builders, then we do suppliers. We do these kind of like panel discussions to learn and improve.
Yeah,
Right?
I completely agree. This is just a mini version, if you think about it from that standpoint, of what we try to do for our agents anyway by having the different events with panels where people can come in and speak. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
My
It's
pleasure.
been
Thank
super
you for inviting
enjoyable.
Me, Nicole. This is cool.
I've learned quite a bit already.
Thank you.
And I can't thank you enough, but I look forward
Likewise.
to talking to you again and maybe having you back on the closing table.
Closing table. That's the best table.
Exactly.
Are you kidding? Closing table? That's what I live for.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.